Appreciate everybody joining us this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. I have
I wonder where that voice was coming from.
With Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 Circle K Toyota. And Matt, Kentucky has always been a pretty good track for you. You have 6 races here in the Monster Energy Series. You have 6 top 10s and 1 win. So talk a little bit about coming back to Kentucky and what you expect this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's we've done okay here. Last year we ran much better than our finishing position. I think there were 7 of them that made on fuel in front of us, and we didn't make it. But it's been a good track. We performed pretty well here in the past, but this is the third different configuration I guess we've raced on, our second repave, and so I don't really know what we're going to have here until really we get going. But yeah, it's been a good track. I enjoy it.
All right, let's go ahead and get questions for Matt. If you have one, raise your hand, say your name and affiliation, and we're going to start up front.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Matt, when I look at statistics, just the numbers on the season, one of the things that really leaps out is, at this time of year last year, Joe Gibbs Racing batting almost 500. This year, you guys across the board are winless. That surprises me. Does it surprise you? And can you talk about the fact that none of the 4 teams have made it to victory lane yet?
Yeah, I mean, that's a little surprising, but yet I've been doing this for quite a while, and you have ups and downs. Certainly, since this is my 5th year at JGR, and 13 was a spectacular year how we performed. We came up short in a couple areas, but we ran really well. And then 2014 we ran, really, really bad and only had a couple wins, I think, throughout the whole organization. One of them was a super speedway win. Then 15 was really strong, 16 was pretty strong, and this year we just seem to be off a little bit. We do seem to be running much better lately. We've had a hard time turning those good runs or better runs into finishes a lot, unfortunately. But I feel like we're definitely on an upswing. Kyle's been fast enough to win 3 or 4 races if all the circumstances would have went right. We've had 1 or 2 where I thought we were competitive enough if under the right circumstances, without, mistakes or problems where maybe we could have won. So I feel like we're getting closer to that. We just got to get things to go our way a little bit.
Could I follow up and just ask, where do you think or why the slow start at the beginning of the year? Was it the body style change? Was it anything else, or was it a series of small things you got behind on that you've now caught up on?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I can speculate, like everybody else. I mean, I think when I look at just the 20, we've certainly had, I think on average, especially start out the year, a lot of problems kind of executing, you know what I mean? Like whether it's me making a mistake or things not going right or something out of our control, getting in a wreck. We had some hard wrecks early in the year that felt like we couldn't really avoid. Maybe 1 or 2 that we could have, but some that we couldn't. So we just had a lot of things go wrong. Our performance hasn't been as good as it needs to be either. But as far as how bad the finishes are and how many DNFs we have and everything, I mean that's a lot of circumstances and execution and being in the right place and that type of thing.
All right, believe it or not, go ahead.
Ken Spencer, WHAS 11. Matt, last year at this track, even though it was a repave, it seemed like it was pretty racy. Last night at the truck race, it seemed like it was very I mean, do you anticipate, even though they repaved it again, that this race will be a little better than it had been in previous years?
I don't know if it'll be better than it was before they repaved it last year, but I do think that for whatever reason, whether it's Goodyear, with the tire, matching up to less downforce, or if it's something different they're doing with the pavement, it's been a lot better than typical repaves. The repave here last year, even Texas this year was much better and more forgiving than a typical repave. So I feel like they're making progress on that, whatever they're doing. So I think the racing will be okay. I don't think it's going to be super wide, but it was pretty good last year, and it there's a lot of laps on the track this weekend, so hopefully it'll be good.
All right, additional questions for Matt. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Do you know where you're going to race Cup next year, and is there any worry about if you don't know where you're going to be yet?
I'm not really worried about it. As of today, I do not have a job for next year, so I certainly hope to still be racing. I think I got some wins left in me, and hopefully can race for championships. But right now, my focus is on finishing up this year. And as we talked about, it's been kind of a slow start. Has not been a good year at all. Not nearly up to my standards or my team standards. So really trying to get back to victory lane, hopefully get qualified for the playoffs here and have a shot at a championship is pretty much my focus at this point. I don't think so. I don't think it is. So, like I said, I don't have a ride at this moment for next year. I haven't really worked on anything real hard, but I do not think I will have the option to race at JGR next year, unfortunately.
All right. Jerry, go ahead.
Jerry Jordan, kickingthetires.net and PRN. Then I want to follow up on that because my question was, Dale's leaving this year, and your name has come up as a replacement for a year or so in the 88 until they can bring up their development drivers and get them ready for Cup. Is that an option that you're looking at or considering? Or does it surprise you that your name's being tossed around for that?
I probably already said too much about what I'm not doing next year, so I don't really have anything to talk about for what I am doing. Like I said, at this point, I don't have anything going on for next year, and I'm pretty focused on trying to get running better this year and winning some races.
All right. I believe we had another question up front.
A little past the halfway point in the season, do you like the way the stage racing has come this year? Do you like how it's played out? Do you think it's been more exciting?
I think every race is different. I think the racing's been exciting. I think, to watch it, from a fan standpoint, I think that there's been some definitely exciting moments and it's mixed up strategy and things like that. I probably don't watch, rewatch all the Cup races right when I'm done, maybe as much as some of the other series. Some of the other series with the shorter races, sometimes the stages seem a little short. Maybe they could be a little bit longer. But with our races, they seem like they're pretty good lengths and seems to mix things up pretty good. So I don't know. This year to start off hasn't been a good year starting. We didn't qualify well, or we'd have problems. We'd finish okay sometimes, but wouldn't get any stage points. And there's just a ton of points to be gained or lost there. So wish we had more than we did at this point. But if you can go out and get a win, I guess that gets you to the next part of the season you want to get to, and you go from there. But it's been okay. I think it's nice to know when the cautions are coming out.
All right. We'll take a question from Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. Considering where you are in points, right now just a few ahead of Joey, are you overly concerned about making the playoffs, or, you typically are a guy who just says, I'm going to go out and race and let the chips kind of fall?
Yeah, I don't know if concerned is the right word. Certainly we're not in a great spot. I always feel like, with the race team that I drive for and the people on my particular team as far as the 20 and the things we do, if we can't be one of 16 cars, kind of shame on us. So, I feel like it's a great race team, and I've never really worried about it a lot, but certainly we're not in a great spot now. The point system is a lot different this year than it's ever been again. We got way behind in points at the beginning of the year with the wrecks and the DNFs and all that stuff. So it's just the spot we're in. We're winless as a company in July, like you said, and we need to go out and win, and that'll take care of a lot of problems. So right on the edge right there for sure. If we don't have some real good weeks here the last few weeks before the chase, however many weeks are left, and you get one or two more different winners that haven't won yet, certainly there's not very many spots left.
All right. I believe we had additional questions up front.
The importance of turn 3 here, and you've got to win, but other than that, this race has been pretty much dominated by Kyle and Brad. Is there anything that kind of leads to that, you think?
Well, last year was a little different. I felt like we could have raced Brad last year for sure, and just couldn't make it on fuel. So last year ended up being a fuel mileage race, but for sure those guys are really good. Brad, I think the year before they repaved it, just annihilated the field. He was so good when the track was rough. So the track's changed a lot. Turn 3 is definitely one of the trickiest parts, to get through turn 3 stable and still get off turn 4 without being too tight. That's always a tricky balance down there, particularly in traffic and depending on the wind and things like that. But that's definitely the trickiest part of the track. There's just really no banking there, and it's kind of a sharp entry. So that's one part you're always working on.
Steve Conley, the podium finish. Matt, we're seeing a lot more of the tire dragging, the compound going down on the track this year than in years past. Has this been something more advantageous to you, or have you found yourself struggling on those situations? We've got it here at Kentucky.
I think that when they lay some rubber down on the track, it certainly seems to help a little bit. I haven't been on a track here yet since they repaved it again. But it does seem to help a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of in the camp as everybody else. It seems like it'd make more sense to drag it up higher, you know, so we can possibly have a second groove and possibly move up the racetrack, especially when you get to the Cup cars. The trucks, I know, are probably pretty close to wide open, and Xfinity cars not quite as much, and then us not quite as much again. So the more you slow down in the corner, the more it's nice to have some options to move up and kind of get some rubber in the track.
All right. Any final questions for Matt? Matt, we appreciate your time
All right,
this
no
morning. Wish
problem.
you the best of luck this weekend.